What was your F this crap, I'm out situation or experience? Broke a few vertebrae on a job, changed careers, started working at a bank as a teller. Back pain was pretty frequent, so started using a lifted chair that was available, so I would be eye level with customers. Came back from lunch break one day, chair was gone. Asked managers about it, they said my job description required me to stand. Put in my 2 weeks the next day. Jesus, have they never heard of the ADA? I have seen pregnant women who were in obvious discomfort, who were forced to stand, tellers, cashiers, etc. When we were young, my wife was a teller for a while, and she was looking for a tall chair to give the pregnant teller. The bank manager said no. He said if she gets a chair, even though she's pregnant, then the other tellers will want a chair too. My response was, so? I think it had more to do with injury lawsuits from idiots falling off their tall chairs, so now everyone has to suffer. I think it's actually because too many people complain about people like cashiers sitting while working because they look as busy. Yes, it's stupid. Personally, I don't give a crap if my cashier is sitting or not as long as they do their job. I know the cashiers at my local Aldi get crap from customers with some frequency because they're allowed to sit in chairs while they work. I can't think of a supermarket in the UK where the cashiers don't sit. That's probably why Aldi's is the only one in the US where they sit that I'm familiar with. It came out of Europe. I've never understood that. I personally don't care if you're wearing a swimsuit and sitting in a kiddie pool, if you can wring me out, we good. Sounds like my cashier job at my campus convenience store. They had one stool for an elderly lady on day shift, which they usually whisk away before those of us on afternoon/evening came on. Then we had one cashier get diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. She wore multiple braces, but she had to stand. Then I screwed up my foot and hip, and used crutches for a month and a half. They grudgingly let me use the stool, but kept pressuring me to get off it. I had to bring in a note from my physical therapist before they'd back off, and the second I was off crutches, they took the stool away, even though I still had a brace on my foot. We've had complaints. Was the reason, but wouldn't tell me where they came from. They also dinged me during evaluations around that same time for refusing to stock and insisting on only using the cash register. That's because I couldn't stock and use crutches at the same time. The last week of school, I got pleurisy, which hurt a lot. The doctor doped me up really good, and told me I was not to work, giving me a note. I called my boss, who screamed at me that they were swamped, I better come in now. When I said, no, the doctor said absolutely not, she hung up on me. I lost the job. That all is such an easy lawsuit. ADA violations everywhere. You didn't lose the job, they lost a sane employee. You should have sued the F out of them. They can't require you to stand all day if you have a disability. When at a yearly review, a former boss hyped up giving me a 10-cent raise and praised how good of a team leader I was. When I asked about the management position that had opened up at a store I was sent to fix, she told me she couldn't stand to lose me permanently to another store. I turned in my 2-week notice and moved on. My boss took me into her office one day. She told me I was a great worker, and she was giving me a 25-cent an hour raise. I went out and told one of my coworkers, and she told me everyone got that raise. We all made minimum wage, and it had just gone up 25 cents. That sounds like a Michael Scott move. Michael was an unfit manager. He was dumb and selfish and over the top, but he wasn't nefarious. This is more like something Ryan would have done when he visited his favorite branch. Michael is a spectacular salesman. He's just been promoted to an entirely wrong position. And even with the second most incompetent man for manager on earth, next to Andy, his branch still did better than every other branch. Think about that. The branch with basically an 8-year-old for manager did better than everyone else. While I agree he was unprofessional, he had to be doing something right, whereas Andy as manager actually made them perform worse. We see that in Couples Discount. When Andy comes back from his boat trip and collects his paycheck, he gets a bonus because the branch exceeded its targets over the last quarter. How long is a quarter? 3 months. How long was Andy gone? Yep, you guessed it. 3 months. My last workplace did this. I had a similar experience. It was a 90-cent/hour raise and she would not listen when I explained I could not live on that. Retail. I took a day off the next week for an interview at a law firm, got the job, and never looked back. Went on to law school, became a lawyer, life worked out pretty well. If she'd given me the $2 raise I was asking for, who knows where I'd be now. Log cabin. Lots of raccoons. Moonshine still. Double-barreled shoddy. Guns not for people. It's for keeping things away from my raccoon friends. You sell trinkets on Etsy. Replace raccoons with opossums and you've described my dream life. Well, with a 10-cent raise it doesn't sound like you can afford me at all. I spent years as a golden boy who you could give anything to and be confident that it would be done right. Then one day I openly stood my ground against the power-tripping plant manager who everyone hated when he was telling us to do something that was physically impossible. Then suddenly I was a troublemaker, under constant watch, and the same plant manager kept trying, over and over, to convince me to quit and go back to school to learn a different career. For my annual review I was given a 0.9% raise. I'm certain that it was under 1%, as a personal FU to this butthole. Shortly after I was forced out of my position to a lower one with hours that severely disrupted my personal life, which said disruption is one that plant manager knew about. I dropped my productivity to the bare minimum. Actually it was less than bare minimum because new job, don't know how to do it yet. I found a new job and got the F out of there. Within a year of me leaving 3 other people, in our group of 15, or so left. Same story happened to my friend. He was making around 80K, was putting in crazy hours and hadn't asked for raise in 2 years since he has started. His review goes good, they praise his work ethic etc., and they only gave him a 0.15C raise. That not even keeping up with inflation in Irvine. Worst company ever worked for. I worked at a hotel as a banquet server for a year about 15 years ago. After applying at a bunch of different other jobs, I landed a great entry-level role at a utility company that paid double what I made at the hotel. I initially planned to keep the hotel job part-time for a while to see how things worked out. My first shift back at the hotel, they sent me in to clear plates in a room. There was this young teenage kid, basically looked me right in the eye and dropped his plate on the floor. Was staring me down waiting for me to pick it up. Room manager next to me asked me to clean it. I looked at the room manager and basically just said, F this, I'm going home. Never went back. Still with the same company that I had that entry role with today. Life is damn good. Well done. F the kid, he thought that he had slaves. But also F the parents from whom they probably learned that behavior and who didn't step in to clean up after their little crap of a child. If I pulled a stunt like that as a teen, my parents would have me cleaning the entire hotel as a punishment, lol. You have good parents then. When I was 19 I got a job at one of those industrial uniform places where they do all manner of textile good rentals/cleaning. On my first day I was put on a blanket folding machine and pretty much told good luck, red flag number 1. The machine kept jamming and they wanted me to crawl into the back of it with absolutely no lockout tag out, red flag number 2. After I finished all the work they gave me in like 2.5 hours they acted both surprised and concerned, and I noticed nobody else on the line seemed to move with any sort of purpose, like lazy zombies, red flag number 3. They then stuck me with 2 old ladies to fold rags, seriously, and when I showed up these ladies suddenly felt like they didn't need to contribute and just sat there chatting, red flag number 4. Come lunchtime I told the HR lady this wasn't for me and left. All that for $7 per hour. Absolutely not. Edit, holy F did this blow up. Thank you all for the awards. Dude, I would have left once they told me to crawl into machinery with no lockout. I mean what the F? I didn't do it. I'm ugly not stupid. Lamau. Oh thank God, laughing out loud. I was immediately reminded of the guys who were slowly cooked to death in that huge oven. Don't get in the kiln. Sir, it's very hot in the kiln. Me and my buddy were teenagers, up to our typical mischief hanging around in the wrong crowds. One night we went to my friend's acquaintance's house or something like that to look at getting some weed. Well, the guy's 6 feet 3 inches psycho-as looking roommate came out of his room, coked out of his effing mind, and was talking at like 1,000 miles per hour. We were passively tolerating his presence, and then he aggressively stated, with a huge smile, "Why can't you look me in the eyes, bro? Look me in the eyes when I'm talking to you, man." My friend and I looked at each other in near disbelief, then just left. But the scariest this moment was when we met this hardened-looking old dude in a gas station parking lot. Guy helped us with our car issue, then asked for a ride to his buddy's place. We figured sure, he helped us out, so we'll help him out. Guy was weird as the whole car ride, and then said this. "Hey, I need to make a little deal with this buddy. Can I pay you guys to just stand behind me and, look tough? That's all." We were like, "Nah, absolutely not," and so he backed down and was like, "Okay, just wait in the car then." So we stopped at the place and waited outside. Right before he went to go inside, he turned to us and said, "If y'all hear cracking, just get the hell out," and then the mother effer just opened the door and barged into the place. We sped the hell out of there. Thank God you did. That could have turned nasty real quick. I'll just convince myself that the old guy had a crazy sense of humor and it was just his own house they were dropping him off at. That makes me feel nice. I too will accept this version of reality. There was a paid intern position at small tech company back when I was in college. The pay was pretty decent, $10, $12 per hour, 2009-2010, and it was what caught my attention since I needed the money. The company was just the CEO, software engineer, and myself. I passed the interview and discussed the compensation. 2 weeks into the internship, I didn't get paid. He said he thought about it and wanted to see if I was fit for the position, even though I passed the interview. I said okay, I'll let it slide, maybe I'll get paid in 2 weeks. So I put in another 2 weeks and I approached him again. This time, his response was that interns should be grateful with gaining work experience and pay is not important. The reason why I applied for this internship was for the money. I just left. Edit. Whoa, I didn't expect this post to gain this much attention. Hopefully you guys can learn from this and don't be passive and naive like me. Give me time to answer some and I'll answer/summarize below. The internship was a software engineer position at a company San Jose, California, run by an Indian guy in his 50s. The other software engineer was an Indian lady in her 30s. This company produced janky digital audio equipment manufactured in India. Our customers were small churches, schools, and small to medium-sized concert halls. Unfortunately, I don't remember the name of the company. My mom doesn't know either since she was the one who drove me, but man, she did get angry when I told her the news. She said the company was somewhere near East Trimble Road. I searched companies around there and could not find it. I was an idiot. I should have saw the red flags because there was no written offer, just verbal. 4 weeks at $10 per hour. Is $1,600 bucks. In my state it's automatic triple damages for that kind of thing. You definitely could have sued and come away with $4,800 from that experience. Depending on the state you should have sued. Any state he could have sued. He applied for a job. That job just happened to be an internship what had a stated wage. After agreeing to that wage he accepted the job. This is a breach of contract at the very least. Just because a job is an internship does not mean it is okay for it to be unpaid. He could have sued the company, the CEO and his insurance policy. In any state for the reasons listed. I'd never apply for a job in a company where the boss calls himself CEO over one additional team member. And how much stuff did you break on the way out? When I was 18 years old, I worked at the only 24-hour auto parts store in our city. It wasn't in the best area, so we had to be really careful who we would allow to use the restrooms in the evenings. In the past, people would basically commandeer the bathroom for their personal use. Generally they were homeless druggies who would either use our bathroom to sleep, use drugs, or both. It might have been my 3rd week working there on the overnight shift. Some guy made it into the bathroom during the late shift. He was already in there by the time our overnight shift started, so we didn't notice him. A few hours into the shift, around 3 to 4 a.m., the store was completely empty and dead silent. Generally by this time, the back door would be open and my co-worker and I would be hanging out, smoking, and just zoning out. All of a sudden we hear the toilet rapidly flush several times, bathroom door slam, and the exit chime from the front door go off. Druggy hobos are pretty crafty. When they would actually plan to use the toilet for its intended purpose, they would often fill it with toilet paper first so we wouldn't hear them and kick them out. Our visitor that night did exactly that. I'm guessing he fell asleep and crap all over the place while high on H. The dude then flushed several times and overflowed the nastiest sewage you could imagine, and it was everywhere. He darted out leaving a massive puddle of crap, piss, drug paraphernalia, and Taco Bell wrappers. My manager tried to make me clean it up because I was the newest guy, so I quit on the spot. Massive puddle of crap, piss, drug paraphernalia, and Taco Bell wrappers. Ah, good old Californian gumbo. Wow, I really hate you for doing this to gumbo in my brain. I don't think that's even legal to have an employee clean up that much human waste. I'm pretty sure that's a biohazard and needs a specialist team to clean it up. That costs money though. Litigations cost more from catching something as a result cleaning without training and the right equipment. Smart managers also cost money. I had transferred to the pizza chain in that town a few days before. This was also the new GM's first restaurant management position, but he'd been there like 2 months. So I'm working, and it was a Veterans Day free lunch special, so of course we're busy. Manager says he'll be there to help. He doesn't show up until after 5 p.m. That evening we ran out of cheese, veggie topping, and dry dough mix. A pizza chain that runs out of cheese and dough? I saw how bad that location was and left the next day. I worked at KFC and had something similar happen. I was only 16 years old, and me and my, also 16 years, co-worker were left alone on a busy Saturday night with no cook while my manager sat outside the restaurant with her boyfriend. This store needed at least 5 people to run smoothly when we were busy. We ran out of everything, all of our sides and our chicken, by about 5:30 and basically spent a few hours trying to run the whole restaurant, plus drive-through, while cooking everything. During that time I kept trying to get my manager to come in, and she refused and yelled at me for not being a team player. I finished the night so my co-worker wouldn't be more screwed, and then quit and never came back. I don't think 16-year-olds should be left to run a store. Manager should have been fired. WTF? I agree 100%. Soon after I quit, all of my co-workers followed soon after. Most were minors, and having lost all of their staff, this wasn't the first time they lost an entire staff. My manager was fired. Came home to my roommate's bipolar, pregnant girlfriend freaking out on meth. Moved out, quit my dead-end job, and went to college. That'll do it. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.